consistently attract soulmate clients, begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalyn Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your Soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize.
Woo! Hello, my loves. It is an exciting week because guess what? It's my birthday week and I'll be turning 39 on August 7th. Yes, 39. And I know I probably look 10 years younger. It's the Asian thing. But yes, I'm so excited about celebrating my birthday on Friday. I actually love the process of aging and fully embracing the aging process inside and out. And as you hear, the saying goes, as you grow older, you grow wiser. Well, I only believe that's true if you continue to personally and spiritually develop yourself. Otherwise, I believe you continue to lock in your beliefs. And some of those don't serve and support us, which is why it's a huge part of why I love speaking and hosting and being a catalyst. So it's also Leo season. And for those of you who know me and have been listening to me, you can feel that I am absolutely a Leo to the T. I love that this season is all about offering to activate your bold, fierce, confident lion energy and power. Leo is a fire sign, and fire is the element of action, motion, and creation. Leo's energy tends to run hot and bright, happy to shine, speaking his or her truth, unafraid to be extraordinary. And of course, my loves, Leo's energy is unafraid of the word fun. In fact, it's part of my last name. I totally live up to it. And Leo season can also give you the confidence to say no, to loudly, energetically, wholeheartedly resist anyone who thinks they have the right to tell you what to do. This is a time for refusing with all your Leo strength to be pushed around. So as you listen to this Leo infused episode, I hope you feel so inspired to take bold action further into your big dream vision. So my loves, this episode is going to be pretty juicy. And I know I say that a lot, but this one is all about me sharing behind the scenes stories that I have never publicly told before when it came to starting my coaching business, and also that transition from leaving my successful 6-figure psychological practice, private practice, into starting my coaching business. So I'm going to share with you some of these, we'll say, crazy stories. And as I share these stories, my intention is for you to really receive the downloads you're meant to receive to help you release blocks and unlock what's possible for you in your life and business. Now, before we move on, I want to remind you that I am on a couple upcoming online summits this month. The first one is called Unlock What's Possible for You. It's all about taking courageous leadership action and proven strategies to unlock your own greatness. And the second summit I'm on is called Emerge, which speaks about neuroscience, different niches as coaches, healers, and leaders, And I will personally be presenting on elevating your coaching business through the power of speaking. Speaking was the thing that really quickly scaled my psychological practice and sold out my group therapy programs. And as a coach, speaking both live and online, hosting masterclasses was the quickest way to build my coaching business, so that even though I was not doing it full time, I still made 6 figures in my first year. So you do not want to miss out on these summits. The links are on my Instagram bio, Bold Sexy Warrior, as well as Facebook. You can follow me there, Rosalyn Fun Coaching, Bold Sexy Warrior, and also will be in the show notes. So I cannot wait for you to join me. All right, my loves, back to this juicy episode. So if you haven't heard my full story, I do encourage you to listen to my very first podcast episode where I shared how I courageously took bold action to do one of the hardest things I have ever done in my life, which was to take the leap of faith from my successful 6-figure psychological private practice to go full time into my coaching business in March 2018. So I even retired my psychologist license. I had started my side hustle coaching business as a self-love coach in November 2017 without the intention to ever give up my psychologist business. My coaching business grew very quickly, like I shared, as I was attracting many other coaches, leaders, and entrepreneurs to help them get out of their own way, show up with strategy and soul to take their business to the next level. And to be honest, I didn't have the intention to work with entrepreneurs because I was focusing on helping women unleash their inner Wonder Woman, regardless of if they were an entrepreneur or not. It was soon apparent that women needed the foundation of self-love, self-trust, self-worth, self-respect, self-discipline to get them to where they needed to go in their own life and businesses. They loved my confidence when I spoke on stages and knew what I had achieved in my own business as the first psychologist in my province to create an online program with successful outcomes that led to international talks, a magazine cover, more abundance of clients, and they wanted my support with the strategies in doing so too. It got to the point that I could no longer deny that I was holding myself back and playing bigger because my attention was split between my therapy clients and growing my coaching business. And let me tell you guys, here's a lesson. Split attention means split energy. I'll say that one more time. Split attention means split energy. So we all know what split energy feels like. It doesn't feel fun, right? And it leads to a quick burnout. So I am so proud of being a former psychologist. I want to really put that out there because it taught me how to have a strong integrity to the code of ethics, business boundaries, and of course, all the incredible wealth of knowledge in deeply understanding human psychology, neuroscience, and processing trauma on all levels with clients. But being a licensed therapist also means there's restrictions when it comes to creating even more impacts in the way that my soul deeply desired. A lot of times people ask me, why did you leave the profession? In today's episode, I'm actually going in deeper about the why and how that occurred and my struggles. And as I'm sharing this, I certainly hope that you can feel like what I went through for some of you are going to really resonate. And I'm going to share with you the mindset and my action steps in how I works through these struggles. So I fell in love with providing business coaching strategies with my entrepreneur coaching clients, something that isn't in the realm of what I could provide in a therapy setting. Of course not. It's a totally different realm. And deciding to retire my successful psychological practice was mind drama for several reasons. All right, so I'm going to share with you some of this mind drama, and you may resonate with some of these. And I really want you to pay attention to what's resonating with you as I share these some of these mind dramas that I went through, because I don't want that to happen for you. And if it is, I want you to be able to know that there's tons of hope. Okay, there's tons of hope. So mind drama number one was my thoughts, my fear of what if I fail and don't make money? I mean, let's face it. At the end of the day, yes, we want to create impacts. We want to have influence, of course. I mean, we would not be doing what we're doing. And to be successfully doing that means we are bringing in income. We're not struggling. We're coming from a place of overflow. And so my fear of what if I fail and don't make enough money? Here's the thing. This is the background, the context I was coming from. I worked 3 days a week, 7 clients a day, and made about $1,400 a day as a psychologist. And at the time, I was running 1 to 2 food, body image, and self-love 8-week group therapy programs that I had myself created, which brought in between $4,100 to $6,200 each group. Okay, so if you do the math, I had a really great 6-figure income. It was scary as heck to leave such a financially stable practice that I had built over 10 years, especially to support the lifestyle my husband and I had built for ourselves and our sons, who were 5 and 3 at the time. We were living, and still are, in our big, beautiful dream home. And of course, we have mortgage, bills, food, child expenses that we need to ensure we meet. We also friggin' love traveling and participating in extracurricular activities and going out for dinners with friends and family. And although my husband also makes really great money in his 6-figure business, I didn't want to create any burden on him for being heavily financially responsible. Can you relate with that? So I really felt the pressure of not failing if I were to start my coaching business. Mind drama number 2 was, what if I fail? Like, overall, what if I fail? And then it was related to the shame of having to go back to something that didn't truly 1,000% align with me, which was my psychological practice. And the shame of others who thought I was crazy knowing I failed, right? Like the naysayers. So can you relate with this? I know many of you listening probably could resonate with this. What if I fail and people who are telling me don't do it get to say, I told you so. Like, isn't that the freaking worst, right? So that was a big one for me. I didn't want to give naysayers the satisfaction of being right. Now, side note, really, this isn't about anyone else, I should say. This is not about anyone else. At the end of the day, what I'm speaking about is mind drama is always related to ego. Okay, and this is what my ego was going through. And so it's absolutely normal that we go through these mind drama, the inner critic coming up, the fears coming up. And so I'm really sharing it from this space of helping you see you're not alone in this. So coming back to this whole fear around shame, I did carefully research on understanding what it meant if I let go of my license and what would I need to do if I decide to return to become a licensed therapist again. But my loves, I knew deep inside I wouldn't return. As much as I actually loved being a psychologist, I knew that my soul was calling me, like not just calling, but like pulling me to place so much bigger. And I will share this in a little bit, but it really, really, being in a license did not serve or support this bigger vision. And I just want to put it out there that that's not true for everybody. It's very different from province to province, state to state, in terms of the licensing of a therapist. So, however, for the license that I hold, it really didn't align with my big vision dream. And a lot of people asked me when I was thinking about retiring, would you and can you go back? They were even wondering if I were to fail, what's my backup plan? And you know what I would tell them? Are you ready for this one? Can you put a baby back into your vagina? That's right. I did just say that. That's seriously how I felt about my coaching business. It was my baby and I was not going to turn back. And I had to bet on myself more than ever before. I'm going to repeat that again because some of you really need to hear this. I had to bet on myself more than ever before. So when we come back, we're going to visit what the third mind drama is.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
When you wake up in the morning, are you excited for the new day? Are you passionate about your work? Are your relationships fulfilling? And finally, are you happy? I'm Mia Voce, your host and guide to the power of 5. Harness the forces of the universe and unleash your powers within. Join me each Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on OMTimes Radio. And remember, anything is possible. You only just have to believe.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back, my loves. So you might still be giggling over what I said about, can you put a baby back in your vagina? You know, and that really, honestly, has been such a foundation for me to keep going, because this is my baby. I'm going to cultivate it. I'm going to nurture it. I'm going to feed it. And I'm going to give it so much freaking love. And how I really, from that place, it's like you are betting on yourself more than ever. And so this strengthened me to move through mind drama number 3, which was, and I know so many of you are going to resonate with this one, I didn't want to risk disapproval from my loved ones. And in this case, it was from my parents, especially my dad. You see, my dad actually thought I was going crazy. He could not, for the life of him, understand why, after all these years of schooling and academia, having such amazing credibility and professional respect, and successfully building my psychological practice, would I give up on it to go into the unregulated profession of coaching? Being raised by my parents in a traditional Chinese family upbringing, the cultural expectations of being a professional with credentials, titles, and status is heavily emphasized. A lot of shame if you don't live up to that standard. So anything that isn't related to these cultural expectations was, like I said, deeply frowned upon. I was also spiritually awakening through this process as I've been doing the work, the inner work, the spiritual development work, having lots of spiritual mentors in the last 10 years from this day. And at that point, my dad, who's an accountant, so very, very left brain, and an atheist who doesn't understand the world of emotions, personal spiritual development, was so freaking fearful of me entering a world where I no longer will be part of a regulated profession. And somehow in his mind that didn't feel safe, and losing my professionalism. He even went so far as to share news articles about psychics who took advantage of their clients by lying to them and stealing their money. And you guys, to be honest, it doesn't frickin' matter the profession. There are cases of psychologists who take advantage of their clients and break the code of ethics and engage in sexual relations with them. Yes, I'm actually saying this. So for every freaking argument my dad tried to have, I could have come back with something of equal. Now, I didn't, but I know that that was my dad's own fears. He was projecting onto me because I was coloring outside the lines. I was not being a good girl and following rules of life according to him. And I'm not, and I want to put it in this way. I love my dad. I'm daddy's girl. And I really, thank God, this is why I say the inner work is the most important work of all. And I know that a lot of you are nodding with me, because then you are able to be more objective and see the forest from the trees when you're in your own shit. And so I did not take it personally. Of course it freaking hurt. It really did hurt that my dad was projecting his shit onto me, but I also truly understood where he was coming from. In fact, I had been unraveling all the fucking rules I had been brought up with in my cultural roots, in our society, in what we're taught in schools growing up, and through my academia, through my own personal development over the past 3 years at that point in time. When I was on mat leave with Logan, who is now 6 years old, I joined a group coaching program for speakers to create more impacts in the world. This was the first time I was truly exposed to the world of coaching through my peers and seeing what they created for their own businesses and scaling their businesses through their online programs. It really had me start to question my current level of thinking at that time and wondered if the way I was doing things, which I thought was the best, were continuing to serve and support me. Where exactly was I going to in my life and career? What did I actually want for myself? How could I create more financial prosperity and abundance without dollars for hours? You know, my loves, it reminds me of when my husband and I started to question our own beliefs around what we grew up with, which is you go to school, you go to university, you get a career, you get married, you have children, and that is what life is about. Both of us really lived sheltered lives, according to this. So if you haven't listened to my first episode of Pleasure in the Bedroom and Bank with my sexy silver fox husband, Dan, then you guys, it's a must. I will share that his dad was a priest and his mom was a nun when they met. Okay, now that I've piqued your interest, if the title of the show didn't already, you're definitely going to want to listen to that episode. It's very intriguing. Anyways, at that time, I had quite a few therapist colleagues in their 40s who consciously chose to not have children. And I remember that boggled my mind so much. As a 27-year-old, at that time, that people would choose not to have children, I talked to my husband about it, and we actually went for therapy to explore what if we decided not to have children. We had never questioned having family because we were living on autopilot. And at the time, of course, I didn't know that. So because I was trained to work experientially as a therapist, meaning we listen to our intuition and our body for the answers, which is where our subconscious beliefs live, it was important to me that we worked with a therapist who was trained in experiential therapy, not just talk therapy. So we went to go see a Haikomi therapist. Haikomi is a method I'm now certified in as well. It is an experiential process, a method that combines neuroscience, psychology, and spirituality. And it is all about studying how you go into a relationship with yourself and how you go into relationship with others. It was a very powerful awakening process to help us start to question everything and how we were being and doing in our lives, and questioning ourselves, our belief systems, our choices, and exploring all the possibilities and directions. This helped us become even more self-aware and expanded our own context of life. Through honoring our body's responses, my own body made it really damn clear to us that yes, indeed, I wanted children. And as we continued to explore together, Dan also came to the conclusion that children were in his divine plan too. So here's a lesson I really want to highlight for you. And it's one of the greatest lessons in becoming not just a better decision maker, but a better human being. That we need to question our own beliefs. I never did that before this. Not in such a conscious, on-purpose way. And it was so freaking powerful. I had a very linear mentality when I was living on autopilot, and I totally thought I was an open-minded person back then. I'm laughing because when I take a look back, I was not at all as open-minded as I had thought I was before I started to question my own beliefs. And I really do believe that if you are truly an open-minded person, you lead with curiosity. You lead with curiosity about how others live and how you live, and you don't judge that. It's like, and you really go through a line of questioning your own belief systems, the ones that serve and support, the ones that don't. It's like, is this continuing to serve and support me? Right? Or is it not? And what are some other possibilities? And here's a big lesson I learned, and I hope you are taking notes. When we explore various angles of a situation with no attachment to the outcome, we allow ourselves to listen to our gut rather than our head. Because we run on 3 different engines: head, heart, gut. Listen to your head and heart. Sometimes our head gets in the way because of ego, and it tends to be a little bit of a bully. So it's really important to tune in to our own intuition, that voice that happens before the ego pops up, right? We often ignore that voice. And then when we look back, it's like, shoot, I should have known, or I knew, right? Like, we're beating ourselves up. So be in the practice of asking yourself, your gut, your heart, what is it that you're trying to tell me? What is it that you want to say to me? Because we get to become even more clear on the path to take. So the conscious decision to have children, as opposed to the autopilot way to check off the list of life to have children, although the outcome is the same, right? We have children. The process was so much more empowering to deeply know that our kids were so much more welcomed into this world because it was consciously done. It changed everything for my husband and I, and how we started to show up and think about our lives, how we went into relationship with ourselves and with each other and with the world. And in 2016, Dan and I started to take personal development group coaching programs through integrity seminars here in Edmonton. And in these courses, I continue to unravel even more ego and limiting beliefs. I let go of so many more layers of my good girl persona that I had all my life. Yeah, you guys are like, what? You had a good girl persona? Yep. And I gave myself more permission to color outside of the lines. So letting go of the good girl persona means I really want you to take a deep breath in and receive these. Receive these if you're struggling with good girl or good boy persona. It's okay to not please others. It's okay to share your truth, even if it's different than others. It's okay not to be perfect. Breathe that in. It's okay not to be prim and proper. It's okay not to follow the rules. It's okay to question societal and cultural beliefs and norms. It's okay to question your own family beliefs and norms. It's okay to pave your own path and be a trailblazer. It's okay to not do it the right way. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have desires. Take that in. It's okay to feel pleasure without guilt. I'm going to say that one more time. I know that's a big one. It's okay to feel pleasure without guilt. It's safe to be a sexual being without shame and guilt. It's okay to let go of everything you thought you knew was the right and only way. Breathe all of what you needed to receive from that. And any resistance that's arising right now, just breathe through it. And know that that resistance is not a bad thing. Nothing is good or bad. It just is information and energy. And so that resistance is telling you there's something to look at here. There is some more stuff for you to be curious about and to explore. So that you can work through that, release this resistance, shift your beliefs, and feel the freedom. Unpacking my good girl persona allowed me to become more of who I really am, a soul having a human being experience. It allowed me to truly connect with a part of me that loves to be naughty and rebellious, at least according to my good girl persona. But really, what I mean is coloring outside of the lines of what we are taught in our society and our cultural norms, and even in our beliefs, our family beliefs, and taking action through allowing ourselves to emerge and trailblaze a new and different way. I know I just shared a lot that you will likely want to replay this episode, because so many of us can resonate with this good girl persona. Here's another thing, another gem for you, my love. There's only one you. And your signature soul essence, which is the alchemy of the following things: your personality strengths, your passions, what comes easy and fun for you, your experience, your education skills, all come together to birth and deliver ideas in your own unique essence that only you have, my loves. How all these lessons I've shared so far translate into my business was that it built the internal warrior foundation that allowed me to be the naughty, I just love that word, to be the trailblazer I am today. I'll call myself a naughty trailblazer. How about that? That's fun. It took me stripping away limiting beliefs, masks, especially the mask of I'm a psychologist and I've got all my shit together, and giving myself permission to move through imperfect action in a bold, vulnerable, and courageous way. And when we come back from commercial, I'm going to share with you exactly how that unfolded and what actions I took. So I want you to really reflect on all that you received right now and what's coming up for you.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, my loves. So I want to shift into how I started my coaching business so bravely and boldly. I hired my very first business coach, and I was shitting my pants because it was the price of a car. It was about $30,000 for the year. And at that time, I had never invested, besides in academia and professional development, this much. So I was like, holy shit. This is the scariest thing ever. And this I knew though that investing in this business coach to teach me what I didn't know yet about growing a successful business was going to be worth it. And here's the thing that I really want you to lean into and to listen. Here's another lesson. I really want you to breathe in. The value you get in working with a coach is going to come from you fully showing up, being aware of your resistance, because again, like I said, resistance is a sign of you, your own beliefs coming up, and staying open to learning the coach's method, right? And of course, tweaking so that it really aligns with you. It's beautiful when resistance comes up. That's why I say it's not good or bad, right? Like even if it doesn't feel good, because it means you get to explore what's coming up for you in a non-judgmental, curious way. Too many times I see people blaming others, coaches for their programs not working. But if the majority of clients are getting epic results from that same coach, you need to look at your own attitude. Are you being in victim mentality, too stuck in your beliefs that you're not willing to shift perspective or look at things in a new way? Or are you taking personal responsibility? That's another episode that you can listen to where I went into depth about the 3 levels of victim and the 3 levels of personal accountability. This was one of my greatest life lessons when I was going through my own personal development. We all have blind spots. And when I learned to be open to what I can't see in myself, take responsibility for the resistance arising and surrender, incredible momentum occurs. So even when I was a psychologist, one creates an online program because of the strict code of ethics, which differs in each province and states, like I said. And when I was doing my due diligence and seeing how I could possibly create one by consulting with my regulatory board, the answer I received from the person in charge of ethics was, at that time, it's your reputation on the line. I remember I was in Costco and I got a phone call back from this person, and I was all excited because I'm like, yes, I'm going to get some answers on how I can make this possible. And that was the freaking answer I got, was it's your reputation on the line. Well, that wasn't very helpful. And in fact, I think it was very egoic, like very, very egoic defensive answer, because I had met award-winning psychologists online from the States who had programs, online programs, and clearly it was possible to do this. But even my licensing regulatory board was not open-minded in exploring with me how to possibly help me create more impacts in the world in the way that I wanted to. And I honestly was not even thinking about my reputation at this point. I wanted to just create bigger impacts. I was following what my soul was calling me up for. And even when I had resigned as a psychologist, speaking to another person in charge of the ethics boards later on was interesting, as he was really bothered that I left the profession and couldn't understand how I could go into an unregulated profession. Kind of like repeating the pattern of how it went with my dad. And really, I can't blame these people, because that's exactly how I was taught to believe from this perspective. This showed me how conditioned we become as people, as professionals, and our own professional cultures, and rigid in our way of thinking. It was very masculine to me, like outdated, old school mentality. And I'm not saying this with judgment. I can really resonate with that. And I see my old former version of myself in that. I would poo-poo the coaching world because anybody could be a coach. But to be a psychologist required years of academia, a national exam, hours of supervision of your clinical work, and defending yourself to a panel of psychologists before you can become licensed. So no one will say it, but I know that amongst this profession, coaching is looked down upon because it doesn't, quote unquote, measure up. Okay, so I'm not saying all psychologists think this way, okay? I'm going to make that really clear. I am only speaking about my own self and my experience with some colleagues. I know that there's been other amazing psychological colleagues who were rooting me on, who believed in my work and just loved it. Okay. So I'm not saying all psychologists think that way. So I don't believe that there is one way that is better than another, because it's like comparing apples to oranges. It's going to person dependent for the professional, just like any other profession. There's going to be amazing coaches and there's going to be less than amazing coaches. There's going to be amazing psychologists and there is going to be less than amazing psychologists. My personal view is that the professional who does their due diligence by continuing to do their inner work and stay integrity to their values, take personal responsibility for their parts, get out of their own way so ego's not running the show, but rather they're serving from the place of love for the highest good and truth, regardless of their profession, is what we all should strive for. It's not about the titles. It's not about the professions. My newly emerged not good girl, color outside of the lines, trailblazing self stood in my power. I'm sharing with this guy that was in charge of the ethics, the power of impacts and influence that coaches could make that also works away from dollars for hours. And the ability to create beyond what our license couldn't allow us to do. And that my leading hat was now that of a business strategy coach. This person still left our conversation not sure how to respond, but I could see that I was now the one in the seat inviting someone into questioning the way things are structured in the way they were in this profession, this regulatory board. And I'm not knocking the psychological practice and profession. In fact, some of my clients are psychologists and desire to stay licensed. That's freaking awesome. It's really about your big dream vision and making sure you're aligned with what you see for yourself in regards to impacts you want to create. And in a way that feels like ease, fun, and super flow for you. For me, because my soul mission involves a deep desire to make global impacts through my work. And for me, the way I want to do it meant that the psychologist path wasn't the path aligned for my soul-driven mission anymore. And I have to honor that. I have so much deep respect for psychologists and the profession. And I also am so deeply grateful for it being such a foundation for me in my knowledge, gifts, and abilities that I now get to bring in. Because you can't forget it. It's part of my gifts. I get to bring in now as a spiritual business coach. So, it's really important to step outside your comfort zone, my loves. It's really important to do the hard things. Do the hard things that doesn't mean you don't create ease and flow, okay? That doesn't mean ease and flow goes out the window. In fact, doing hard things supports you in having more ease and flow. Doing hard things means working through your own resistance, your limiting beliefs, so you're surrendering to what no longer serves and supports you and open up to more possibilities of freeing yourself. Freeing yourself. For example, I was willing to work through my beliefs that were holding me back. My need to please my parents, keep up with my title, status, credibility. My need to please my professional licensing board. My need to color outside of lines, or inside the lines, I should say. My need to act as if I had it all together and that I should have it all together. After all, I'm a psychologist. Wow. Oh my gosh. There's so many people are like, they see me having like a human moment of a meltdown. They're like, aren't you a psychologist? Shouldn't you be behaving better? Like, are you fucking kidding me? All right. My fear of failure, my fear of not being good enough, my fear of people not paying me because I'm no longer covered under psychological benefits. I had to release all of this and truly see my own value in what I had to offer. I had to unlearn so much about my beliefs and the way things had to be. And as I did that, the resistance melted away and my inner, bold, sexy warrior started to emerge even more. I allowed myself to drop more into my own sacred pleasure and desire energy so that I could unleash more of my inner magnetic energy of my soul signature essence. I gave myself permission to do a lot of stuff I never did before. Permission to dress in a way that felt much more aligned, which is spiritually sexy. Permission to expand my receiving container. permission to earn more money, like a fuck ton more money for way less work. Doesn't that sound delicious? Permission to boldly let go of anything that didn't serve and support me, and that included firing my dad as an accountant. I am going to leave you hanging. I'm going to leave this as a cliffhanger because my dad was my accountant all my career life, and I had to fire him. And so I'm going to actually go into deeper depth on a future episode about this story because I think a lot of you need to hear shit. I am holding myself back because I'm trying to please my parents, or I'm trying to please my spouse or a loved one, whoever that is for you. Okay, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happened in a future episode. But let me tell you, this was the hardest thing in this process of me unraveling my shit and shifting into who I really am. I was releasing all my money shame stories. I realized that energetically and subconsciously, my dad might have been holding me back in business. So I'm going to share with you in detail about that in a future episode. So you're just going to have to stay tuned. I like teasing you. So what I love to shift into right now is, of course, my meditation and light language activation. I want you to just take a moment right now and just breathe in and then breathe out, clear everything. Just let everything be a blank canvas. And just reflect on my stories that I shared with you. Reflect on the lessons. Reflect on what I emphasized. And what in this moment is really showing up, standing out for you in this moment. Because it's here for you to really look at. It's here for you to connects with. And as you connect with this aha moment, this golden nugget, this thing that I just shared on this episode that you really needed to hear, I want you to breathe it in. And then release anything that doesn't serve or support. Taking longer on the exhale to calm your nervous system. Breathing in your enoughness. Breathing in your soulgasmic energy. Your soul aligned mission. Even if you don't know clearly what it is, you can feel it. You can feel it. Honor it right now. Honor what you're feeling guided to right now. Honor your courage. Honor your inner warrior power. Let go of all the bullshit. Let go of naysayers. You are on your own journey. They are on their own journey. Let go of needing to explain yourself, and let go of needing to convince others. And just you do you. Feel into this. Feel into this. Koratua kira koratikia parkaratua koratikira koratua. You are powerful beyond measure. Koratikira koratukia parkaratua koratika koratua. You are the one. Koratikira koratua. You are the one. You're the one to birth this idea, to grow this idea, to cultivate this idea, and to love it up like it's your own baby that you are delivering into the world to create this beautiful impact, influence, and the energetic exchange of a fuck ton of money. Korati karatu karatu kia prakaratua. Abundance is your birthright. Abundance is your birthright. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in again. What feels so aligned, so delicious, soulgasmic. And breathing out anything that doesn't serve or support. Holding space for the resistance so that you know there is some juice for you to work through. And then when you're ready, just place your hand on your heart, one on your belly, and just breathe in. You are enough. The world needs your gifts now. 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 Beautiful. And then when you're ready, just very slowly and gently start to take your awareness back into your environment. Feel the temperature on your face. Beautiful. And I'd love for you to really journal what came through for you. Sign up for my online summits, unlock what's possible for you, and emerge. Find me on social media, Bold, Sexy Warrior. I love you. I see you. I hear you. You got this.